Hi, this is Ingrid from Quiltessential Co, and we're going to be doing our June block of the month. But first I just wanted to show you this lovely quilt. It's called Lickety Split, and I did it with a whole bunch of steampunk fabrics. Some things have tickets in it, and wheels, and luggage, and there's grunge in the background. It's a really fun quilt to make. And it's great if you've got directional fabric, because you can actually choose where you put the things. And we have the kits and the pattern in our store. And now we're going to be working on June's block of the month. So our block this time is a little bit different than the others. It's a little bit smaller blocks that make the large 12-inch block, but it's kind of cool and it's really modern, and it looks great if you make it into multiple blocks and into a quilt. We're first cutting A, and we have several pieces of A this time. So we're cutting 2 long strips, 1 narrower strip. Then we have B and C. D is a long, narrow strip. E is 4 squares and a long strip. And then you have F. So there's more cutting out, but it's worth it in the end, and it's a really cool block to make. So let's get sewing. So you're going to stack your pieces together. So here's A with your B, and here's A with your C, and stack them right sides together. And just to recap, I like to trim up my side to make sure it's perfect. Line a ruler up here, put another one next to it so that you can butt it up, cut it nice and trimmed, and then you can keep cutting. So we're going to be using on this the half square triangle end of our goddess tool, and we're going to be putting that down here like this. And we're using the line I told you in your pattern. And when you cut across, don't forget to slide the ruler up, put the dot line on the bottom, make sure this is straight on the diagonal, and just trim off the little edge. It makes a huge difference down the end. So out of your A and B and your A and C, you'll be cutting 4 little sets. And then we're going to sew them straight across here and meet me back for the next step. So when you've made these AB, AC, make sure you press them the way I told you to, because it's really important later on for them to nest well, and it'll make it easier for your construction. You then take D, and you're going to be using your half square triangle end of your goddess tool again. Trim up on the side, which I've already done, and cut your triangles, and don't forget to go and cut the little piece off the bottom, and you'll cut 8 out of that. Now we're going to take these ABs and ACs, and we're going to be trimming off a cutaway from each of the A's. Make sure you do it only on A, and we're going to be using the medium cutaway part of the ruler. So you're going to place that nice and carefully so it's really square here, and A only, you're going to do a cutaway. And you'll do the same thing on all of these. You're going to take your D right sides together and then place it on top of where you've done that cutaway, sew across here, and press the way I told you, and meet me back for the next step. So remember to press exactly the way I told you. I know that this A and this B look similar, but they are different. So we're going to be pressing the way I told you, and we now have an A, B, and we've added D, and here we have an A and a C, and we've added a D. Now we're going to just go one step further, and we're going to be cutting our A strip again, and this A strip is going to be cut with our half square triangle end of the ruler, and we're cutting same thing. We need 8. Remember, when we cut, to slide it up and cut off the edges. We're going to be cutting quite a few. So once we've got all those cut, we're then going to be doing a cutaway again, and we are definitely not cutting away from A because we're adding an A. We're cutting away from our D only. So you're going to be putting your small cutaway this time onto the D and cut this away, And you're going to do it on all of your blocks, always on the D. And then we're going to be taking our skinny A and right sides together again. We're going to be sewing this down and flipping that back, and that gives us an amazing block. Remember, press it the way I told you, and I'll meet you right back. So now we've made these really cool blocks. Now they're always going to be slightly wonky because we've added so much on this side. So I just take a square ruler, line up my diagonal here, and then trim it to the size I've told you. So you might have a little tiny piece to take off. I can see that this one needs it too, but then they'll be really perfect. You hardly ever need to trim anything off this triangle. Just trim it off the extra pieces that we've added. So these are the little blocks that we've made, and we are then going to sew those together. This is why it's important that we press the way I tell you so that they nest really nicely, and that's part of our block. We're also going to take our E and our F long strips, sew them all the way along, and then press them the way I told you, and you're going to trim these, well, actually cut them into units. I trimmed the edge, and I'm cutting them into units along here like this, and we're then going to construct our center part by putting these two together. I typically sew like this so that my seam is up towards the needle, so they nest really nicely in the center here, and it makes for a really neat block. So here's our block. Here are the units that we made with our A, B, C, Ds, and they're sewn together, sewn together. Here we've sewn 2 rows of all of our little E and F units, and then that makes 1 center block. And then remember, we had cut out these squares for the corners. They're going to be sandwiched either side of our little block that we made. That is really kind of special. And there you go. Looks really good. So we're halfway through our year now, having 6 blocks made this month. And I hope you've been enjoying yourself. If you found this video useful, please leave us a like and click subscribe for future content. And this has been Ingrid from Quiltessential Co, and thanks for sewing with me today, and we'll see you soon.